All right, let's do it. All right, my friends, today we are going to do a short sequence that can be helpful if you have tension headaches or other kinds of headaches. There are a million different reasons you could have a headache, so different poses might actually be better suited to your particular headache. However, this might be one that helps. It's always important when you are experiencing any tension or pain in your head, neck, or shoulders to be really aware of the ways in which your body is feeling called towards movement. And by this, I mean before you go into any inversions or anything that puts more pressure on your head or neck, really check in with your body and see if that's something that feels nourishing or wise given your current situation. So you are the expert, you know your body best, so check in with yourself every single pose. The other thing I always like to keep in mind when I'm doing yoga to help with a headache or pain is that if you are not warm and comfortable, you're going to tense up more, and generally this isn't conducive to headaches. So I like to wear long sleeves. You'll notice I've still got socks on. Anything that you need to make yourself comfortable and not tensing up or shivering while you do this practice. So let's start in a seated position and just take a moment to breathe as you feel yourself supported by your mat. And as you sit here, as you inhale, imagine that your spine is lengthening up and out the crown of your head. Exhale and allow your breath to remind you to release any active tension you're holding that doesn't serve you in this moment. Good. On your next inhale, once more, imagine your spine lengthening up out the crown of your head. Bring your left hand over to your right knee. Place your right hand behind you and exhale. Gently bring your body into a twist. You can bring your gaze over your right shoulder behind you. And it's really important, particularly when dealing with situations that are adding tension or pain, not to force your body into any particular pose. Take a few more breaths here. And exhale back to center. Let's switch sides. Inhale, lengthen your spine. And exhale into your twist, bringing your gaze over your left shoulder behind you. Allow your spine to remain tall in this twist, and your exhale to be a reminder to release any muscle tension that's not serving you. On your next exhale, come back to center. For the next several breath cycles, as you inhale, pull your shoulders up towards your ears, and exhale, allow your shoulder blades to float down the back of your rib cage towards your hips. Inhale, shoulders up, and really focus on the release of the tension as you exhale your shoulders down, noticing where specifically in your body you experience that release, and how you experience that release. Good. Exhale your shoulders down. Bring your right ear down towards your right shoulder. Extend your left arm out to the side. And I want to invite you here to really explore movement and positioning. So you might see what changes in this pose as you turn the direction the palm of your hand is facing or the direction that your thumb is pointing. It might also be that you just play around with the height at which your arm is raised as you extend it out to your side. And take 2 more breaths here. Always seeing your out breath as that invitation to release muscle tension. After your second exhale, use your right hand to gently bring your head back up to center, and we're going to switch sides. So exhale your left ear down towards your left shoulder. Extend your right arm out to the side. Again, as you breathe, just explore whatever unique modifications or movement might allow this pose to be more nourishing to you. Nice, relaxed, deep breaths. Releasing muscle tension on your exhale. After your next exhale, use your hand to bring your head back up to center once more. Good. As you exhale, keeping your ears in line with your shoulders, tuck your chin in towards your chest, almost as if you were reaching the bottom of your chin towards that little kind of concave hole or the notch at the top of your breastbone, right here between each of your clavicles, these long bones right here. Keeping the back of your neck long, imagining that your ears are directly placed over your shoulders. And keeping your ears in line with your shoulders as you inhale, reach your chin up and maybe out in front of you a little bit. So you'll feel lengthening in the front of your throat. Still aiming to keep your ears in line with your shoulders. Good. And come back to center. Bring the soles of your feet together. Inhale, lengthen your spine, keeping your spine long. As you exhale, hinge at your hips, leaning forward. And this might not initially feel like something that would help tension or pain in your neck, head, or shoulders. But oftentimes when we experience that in the upper back or neck, it can be because of tension or tightness in our hips or lower back. So this is a pose I like to put in there just to encourage the tension release all along my back body. Because it's also common that we tense one area as we release another. And we're going for overall relief here. Take one more breath here. And as you exhale, rise back up. In that same vein, extend your right leg out to the side at any given angle that feels accessible to you. Bring the bottom of your left foot to the inside of your right leg. Your right hand can be on your right shin. Bring your left arm up and over, and then exhale into a side bend. Your sitting bones on your right and left side should remain evenly in contact with your mat, and that will bring the stretch into the lower left side body right here. Good. If it feels nourishing to do so, you can exhale and pull your left shoulder down towards the floor. So your upper body will rotate to face your right knee. And then inhale, pull your left shoulder back up. So your upper body rotates to face back out. I'm going to take 2 or 3 more breaths here. As you move through this, if you're choosing to rotate your shoulder, just notice how each time you reach your shoulder down and then pull it back up, what might change about the physical sensation in your body? Where is this allowing you to release tension? Good, let's do that one more time. Inhale, pull your left shoulder back up and then rise all the way back up to seated and switch sides, extending your left leg out. Left hand can rest on your left shins, or you can bring your forearm to the floor, whatever feels comfortable. Inhale your right arm up and over, keeping both of your sitting bones evenly in contact with your mat. Feel where in your lower side body this is allowing you to release tension. And if you'd like, add in that movement, exhaling your right shoulder down. And then inhaling back up. Let's do that a few more times. Really allowing your attention to sit with the physical experience here. Where in your body does this movement invite release? Good. Let's do that one more time. Exhaling the right shoulder down. Inhale, pull your right shoulder up and come all the way back to center. Extend both of your legs out in front of you. If you'd like to, you can use a block to rest your forehead on in this forward fold. So inhale, reach both hands up towards the sky, lengthen your spine out the top of your head. Exhale, fold forward, reaching towards your feet. Your hands can rest wherever your reach naturally ends. You do not need to reach your feet for this to be an effective pose. I like to rest my forehead on a block here to allow the tension that oftentimes builds up in the neck and shoulders when we do forward folds to really just melt away, to allow my body to sink into this pose. Good. As you exhale, just notice where you might be able to release a little more tension. Take one more breath here. And then as you next inhale, slowly roll up one vertebrae at a time until you are in a seated position. Good. All right, come into a table pose. So you're on your hands and knees. Position your hands in a way that allows you to feel as if you are pressing into the ground to lift and support your body up without collapsing between your shoulder blades. So there's space between your shoulder blades here. As you inhale, your belly button will reach down towards the floor and your heart will come to face forward. Your gaze will follow the direction your heart is pointing, but I want you to keep the back of your neck long. Beginning the movement at the base of your tailbone, tuck your hips under, roll your spine up towards the ceiling as you exhale and release your head, neck, and shoulders. Good. Inhale, halfway back to child's pose. So bring your hips towards your heels, about halfway. Exhale, return to cat pose with a rounded back up towards the ceiling. Inhale, again, beginning at the hips, reaching your belly button down and your heart forward, coming into cow pose. Allow your breath to guide your pace through this, encouraging or imagining a sense of ease as you move through it, moving in such a way that fosters or encourages the release of tension. Good. Let's move through that one more time. Inhaling, cow pose. Exhale, round your back into cat pose. Inhale, halfway back to child's pose. Exhale, return to cat pose. Good. Come into a neutral spine and step 1 foot back at a time, coming into a plank, just so that you can step forward with 1 foot, coming into a low lunge. Lower your back knee down towards the ground. And then as you exhale, lengthen your front leg out, draw your hips back towards your heel behind you, coming into a half split. Inhale, shift forward into that low lunge. Notice As you move between these at the pace that your breath sets for you, where in your body the sensation of the movement is, and how that shifts or changes as you continue to breathe through these two poses. Let's do that for 2 more breaths. Good. After your second breath, come forward. Lift your back knee up off your mat. Step back to a plank pose so that you can change sides. Step your other foot forward. Ooh. There we go. Lower your back knee to the mat. Good. Exhale. Pull your hips back towards your back heel. Lengthen out your front leg. You determine what your range of motion is here. This really is about what is most nourishing to your body. So don't be afraid to explore and experiment different variations of this as you move through it. Your inner body wisdom is there to guide you, and you know your body best. Good. Let's do that one more time. Inhale, come back forward. And bring both knees back down onto the ground so you're coming into a table pose. If you've got a block, grab it and bring it to your mat so that as you sink your hips back into a child's pose, you can place your block underneath your forehead. And you can change the height of your block in order to allow for more space between your upper body and your legs. I like to position the edge of the block just above my brow line. You can place your arms wherever feels most accessible for your shoulders. That might be just gently resting your elbows on the ground at your sides or reaching your arms out behind you or up above your head. As you rest the edge of your block just above your brow line, gently begin to turn your head from side to side. There are so many tiny muscles and nerve endings in this area of our body, and oftentimes we don't realize that even though they are so tiny, they do have the capacity to store so much tension. So really call on your breathing here to guide you through this. Allow your exhale to be that reminder to release your tension. Almost as if you were melting around the edge of the block as you turn your head from side to side. Take 2 or 3 more breaths here. And then come back to center for another breath. And gently bring your hands underneath your shoulders and slowly push yourself up into a seated position. Just take a few moments here to breathe. Allow your body to adjust to being upright. If at any time child's pose or being that close to the ground puts a little more pressure on your head, you can also do the same thing sitting at a table or a desk in a chair with the block on the table so that you only have to lean forward just slightly. So that's also another option for that move right there. Next, we're going to come back onto our backs for our last 2 poses. And for our last pose, we do have the option to use both blocks. So if you've got blocks, keep those close by. But to begin with, just come into a reclined position with your feet flat on the floor. Take a moment here to feel your spine settle into your mat, to lengthen back out. You might even actively tuck your shoulder blades underneath your heart. as if you were opening or lifting your chest up. Good. Pressing your heels into the ground as you inhale, imagine one vertebrae at a time, starting at your tailbone and working your way up, rolling up off the mat. So this is a very slow rise into bridge pose. One vertebrae at a time. And then as you exhale, roll back down in the same manner. Now, depending on your headache, this might not feel very nourishing or healing. If it causes more pain or aggravates your headache, simply rest on your mat, feeling your spine lengthen out as you lay there instead of rolling up into bridge. Notice how as you roll back down to bridge, as each vertebrae touches the mat, it provides the opportunity to release any tension in and around and between each space there. Let's do that one more time. Inhaling, rolling up. Feeling one vertebrae at a time lift as you press your heels into your mat. And then exhale, roll back down. Very slow. Good. Take a moment here. Once you touch back down to your mat, allow your knees to rest against each other. Before we move into shavasana, which will have a few options, widen the stance of your feet towards the edge of your mat to whatever degree feels accessible and comfortable. Bring your arms out to the side, and as you exhale, bring both knees down toward the ground on one side of your mat. Inhale, roll back up to center, and exhale the other direction. Shoulders will stay, for the most part, in contact with your mat, depending on how accessible or comfortable a twist is for you. Just notice how as you sway from side to side, what invitation may exist in this movement to release further, to allow more tension to melt away. Even your twist out and then return back to center. And for our short shavasana at the end of this practice, I want you to find whatever position allows you the greatest amount of relief for your head, your neck, and your shoulders. So that may be staying here and just allowing your knees to rest against each other. It might be taking a traditional shavasana where you're lying flat on the ground. One of my favorite poses when I am experiencing a lot of muscle tension is actually legs against a wall. And if you don't have a wall, or trying to get your legs up a wall while you're lying on the ground feels a little silly or difficult, you can also use your blocks. So if you take your blocks, one or two, you want to stack them in a manner that is stable. They're not going to shake or tilt. And again, if the added pressure that this might put on your neck and shoulders isn't conducive to the kind of headache you have, choose another pose. Don't be afraid to explore. Gently pull one knee and then the other up towards your chest so that you can feel the back of your pelvis resting in a stable manner on top of your blocks. And you can stay here, or you can extend your legs upward and just find that spot where the blocks allow you to balance in an almost effortless way, as if your legs were just floating up towards the ceiling. There are a lot of reported benefits to legs up a wall pose. Of course, there are always different ways in which this will affect or help different people because we are all each so unique. But one thing this does do is encourage circulation to be more focused towards your upper body. So your head and your neck and your shoulders are getting more of that oxygenated blood. This is also a really great pose if you sit in an office chair all day, with the circulation and the energy generally being centered either in your sitting bones or in your feet. This kind of reverses all of that, reverses the energy flow. Stay here as long as feels nourishing, and whenever you are ready, gently come out of your resting pose, making sure to allow your body the grace and the pace at which it needs to come out of this without jarring or aggravating. Oftentimes, I like to lay flat for a few minutes after I do that, supported legs up a wall, just to ground myself, feel my spine lengthen back out against my mat. And whenever you are ready, whether it's right now or at your own pace, on your own time, you'll gently roll over to one side and gently press yourself up into a seated position. To just hold your hands over your heart. Gently feel your awareness come back out of your body. As you prepare to move about the rest of your day. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.